Aloha kako. Welcome to tonight's show of Kanakanology on this April 12th. Tonight we have Uncle Keone Kalawe. Uncle Keone is from the Puna area and has spent his life in service to Lahui in all kinds of capacities. And we're so grateful. Welcome, Uncle Keone. We're so grateful to have you here with us tonight.
Mahalo for inviting me, I always watch you guys when I get time, and I feel that this is a very good podcast because it deals with actually our culture, the practices, and also the underlying of education. So it's, fantastic.
Right. Oh, mahalo nui. So, Uncle, tonight we'd like to give you the opportunity and the opportunity for all of our viewers to learn more about who you are and from whence you came and where you going from here.
Oh, all right. So
Okay.
I'm gonna start from the beginning, way from the beginning. Okay. So my actually, our original name was Kalawe Moku. Okay, and that's our original name in the genealogy. And so I'm just gonna share like in the 1800s. Okay, so in the 1800s, my kupuna with their the Ohana lived in Loa Kona. So it's like they lived in Kula, Kapoho, Halipua'a, Kahuvai, and go all the way down to Keone Popo. And at that time, um, my great grandfather, Reverend Lanakila Kanakanology, he had a congregation, and it's the largest congregation in the 1800s at Pula Church. But Pula Church actually was brought down to the second location. The first location of the church was Kanihiko. So it's right next, close to Nanavale. So the church was there, and at some time they actually dismantled the church and put them on the wagon, and they brought them down to Kauai. And so they put the church back up. But the thing is, never have one bell for call the people. So they had one red who for call the people, and then the people just come to the church. That's the reason why the name is Uula Church. And my kupuna and also my tutor lady, they was actually running the church down there. They had a really big congregation, and then they're going to speed them up. So during the time of the overthrow, okay, had one period, right? So after the overthrow, then they have meetings, right? Like Aloha Aina. But my kupuna, they was actually staunch kingdom supporters. Okay, so they went around, and then they kind of like, okay, we have the Kui petition. We got to get all our people for sign. Sign. But my tutor lady actually went travel from Mokokeawe through all the islands, and she ended up in Hawaii. And then you can find actually some of the stories of her travels there. And she was one, I believe, she was one of six Wahines during that time who traveled to gather signatures for the Pu'e. And then they had some kind of mission during that time. And what's really remarkable is that I can jump. Okay, so my great grandfather, Reverend Blanakila Kanakanology, he was not only one reverend, he was an attorney, he was on Kumuhula, and he actually was a cowboy. So he did a lot of stuff, down Puna, and then we had we get Ohana all the way down to Kalapana. So that's when we was kind of like growing up, we know our family, but at the same time, my great grandfather had the opportunity to actually talk with his grandfather, and he was born 1810. He he died 1905, so he outlived the kingdom. So he used to write all this stuff, in actually on papers and everything. I say Ghana because he writes about all the different kind of practices. So it's all firsthand because his grandfather was born during the time of the copper system, and then throughout the whole time, yeah, until you know after I believe
Oh,
during
wow. So the things he saw in his life,
right. So
the
you know,
unification of the islands,
yeah, yeah. So
the,
and
it,
it's like
the,
so he wrote
oh,
down about different kind of other practices, hayals, and I mean all kinds of stuff like that, yeah. And then so so all of these stories, okay, so it's like my grandfather, Alvin Kalawe. So he was actually one time he was a sheriff for a couple of towns. So I was like his punahele. So I used to always hang out with him and the rest of my like siblings and my cousins. Like you know what, we're gonna play. But he took me to all the different places down Lopuna, showed me all the ahupua, the elis, all the boundary markers, all the mo'olelos, all that stuff. Yeah. And then so it's kind of like was in me all of this stuff because it's kind of after a while like okay. And then but him passed when I was 13 years old, 1973. And during that time, that period is that okay. So I kind of retained some of the knowledge, and then now my father is kind of like talking to me about the importance out there and all that stuff. Okay, so I was going to Pahoa school, and then when I graduate, I'm right into the military. Okay, so I stayed in the military for almost 21 years. Okay, and then I was kind of like, oh yeah, I've been there for a long time. But what really went changed my life because actually, during the later part of my year, I was an instructor, and actually I was on 11 Charlie indirect fire, so it's all 81 meter mortars. So I instruct Australia. I've been down there 3 times, and like Washington and all that stuff. Okay, but my foundation, my culture was always me, and so it's like wow, you know. But the turning point when I was 30 years old, all this stuff, all this culture impact just come down on me, boom, hard. So I had an opportunity for go Kaho'olawe. And when I went over there, it's like, yeah, I'm on the end actually calling for fire. I don't see the impact. When I see the impact, it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? It's like, whoa, how about that? So when I went back, you know, and I spoke to first a colonel and said, you know what, I'm going to finish already. Tell me what? You're not going to stay like 30 years? I said, no, I'm done. Because I seen the impact of what the mortars can do. I mean, visually, I was on the ground. I was like, I'm done. And then from that is like, okay, I'm out. And so all of a sudden, I get my 3 aunties. Okay, Yvonne Mauna Kea, I get Kalawa, and then my auntie Nancy Kalawa. And they kind of like saying, you know what, you're gonna take here Malama all the genealogy of the family. You know one trace, you picking you. So as they're doing all this genealogy stuff, is that now I finding out all this stuff. But it's not only about the person's name or who they were, what land they lived on, and what was the kuleana or the oihana, their hard work. And it was so intriguing, just getting all this stuff. And then I want to go back to school, or I'm going to college, and kind of like just get back into the groove of who I am as a Kanaka. And so from that point on of Kaho'olawe, it's like, okay, I was going over there, and he said, oh yeah, from Malama the island, but wasn't. It was the other way around. Is it the island when Malama me and the rest of the people who was with me? It's like when kind of like open up our eyes, and now it's like you go back to your island and you Malama Yukuleana. And then from that time on, it's like I had a big passion. Everything is like culture, 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 everything like that. Just doing all this stuff. And at the same time, that's when I met my kumu on Kauai, and he is the one taught me about heiau. So the concept of heiau and stuff like that was really really deep. And so I used to fly into Kauai. He kind of like taught me a lot of stuff. And then he flew to Puna, and he stayed with me Kahului. And then we went all over, and he's talking about alignments and all that stuff. So it was just, it's just all this stuff, being actually determined to find my place in the Kanakanology. And then from that time on, I had other opportunity. I had actually, during that time, the opportunity to work with this archaeological firm on Oahu for 10 years. And it's really good because I'm kind of like I'm learning about, oh shucks.
Like the Western view of it plus the Kanaka view too, right?
It's infusing because, for me, my whole foundation is Hawaiian practices and Hawaiian values. But we're using the Western archaeological methods, and we're using that. But never ever forget your foundation is your Kanaka. So that was actually my perception about the whole thing. And so, as on firm, they do other kind of stuff. And so after a while, it's like, I don't want to do any kind of reconnaissance or, anything like that for development. So, I said, what, when it come to like, anything with restoration and all that stuff. So that's the path I went into. And the opportunity was when I went actually Mahealani Pai when contact me because they wanted to restore the 5 heiaus. So the 3 was on the ocean side, and then the other 2 was actually Mauka. And then so I started with them 2007, and I was on the ground, and whatever I went learn, obtain from my kumu, I apply them into the heiau. And then so
Akea Mokupuni on this island?
yes, so it was Hapaiali'i,
Oh,
Ke'eku, Haliopapa, Makolea, Kapuanoni, and Kapapa Honua, I think was up. But the thing was, as one, because I went kind of like specialized in the astronomy part. So the astronomy with the relationship of heiau is totally different from any other, like, people who actually navigate. But it's almost the same concept, but when it comes to heiau, it's different. Because even when you construct like one heiau, get internal components. So every type of different heiau get different amount of components. So let's say if we kind of like construction or actually building a brand new heiau. If you're going to do navigation or astronomy, get 6 internal components. You go to an Haleopapa, or we go to an Luakini, get 17. So you know what I mean? So you need that components, the internal components for the heiau to actually work. It's like building. So let's say, you got to clone one body outside. Oh yeah, the thing look exact. But no more the liver, no more the kidneys, no more the brains, all that stuff. So same thing. You can build one heiau and look beautiful, and you can actually mimic one heiau. But if you don't know about the internal components, it's only a piece of art. And then so the other thing too is that all the heiaus from Mokuokeawe, so all the way to the Northwest Hawaiian Islands, all the heiaus, all is built in one grid. You cannot build a heiau outside because the thing not gonna work. So all of that stuff that's what I actually do. So when they bring me in to do restoration, I'm actually one consultant to make sure that all these components are in place. So we just did repairs October of last year on Papayali because in that storm and we kind of like knocked down the walls. So I made sure because the thing all the way down to the papa, so I had to make sure that the internal components was in there. So you get internal components, and then you get actually the external or the physical where you can see. So like on Papayali, you get various pohakus, right? And then some of them actually is alignment for astronomy. So on every hell, there's a primary function and also get one secondary function. Every hell. On Va'a, for astronomy, Luakini, observation, all like that. And how the hells are connected is from corner to corner to corner to corner. That's all. So like in the old days when actually the Kahuna Kuikui would actually build a hell or actually
say where the thing would go.
Or you gotta change
location, the location.
No, you change the function. Okay, so rededication. So when you actually build a hill, it could take you 1 year. You know what? You got to go out there and you got to look at like the summer solstice, equinox. So you put one on like one stick, boom, where the sun goes, where the sunset, boom. And come to equinox, same thing. So you get the alignments. All right. So after that, actually where the hell gonna sit in. It can be outside, can be inside, right? So it's between the Ali Nui and the Kahuna Kuikui Puani. Is what is the function of a brand new hell? So once when they hook off, and then so now the Kuikui Puani going to drum on the sand. So okay, this is how the hell is going to look like. All the different components like this. So the thing is, it's not like, oh, put them over there. No, that thing not gonna work like that. It has to fall within the grid.
The grid.
Right. So once they determine that, is even before they actually do construction of them, you get actually one ceremony. So the ceremony is 3 nights, 4 days, and on the 4th day, they end the ceremony. But now, clockwise, they're gonna put in the Niho stone, the foundation stone. But underneath the foundation stone, you're also going to put, you can put, like different kind of components under there. And then once the thing is set, then the masons come in, and then they build them.
Oh.
So the mason will go inside there because even like when you build one house, you need an architect, right? Because if they don't understand, somebody gonna put the toilet inside the living room. You know, they get the concept. This, but they don't know where the thing's supposed to be, right? So let's say we're talking about one Luakini, okay? So get function of where precise gotta be. So all the numbers when they build are odd. Even the width of the walkway, the height of the walkway, everything. So even like, when you put the tower in, you get actually consists of actually 4 ohia, right?
Right.
You look at them sometimes, hey, the bottom will say, oh, even. Okay. And then right there you get the lele, and then you get the hali for the pahu drum, and then you get the other 3 hali. So that's the infrastructure. So how they actually connect all this is that they make kauna. And they either use coconut sennit or they use limu. Okay. And then they actually strand them all together. They run them inside. The power come outside, underneath the lele, go through the drum house and the 3 olives. So now the thing is connected.
Wow.
And when Luakini, what they're achieving is mana. So let's say, oh, did I go to war? Okay, now we're going to actually have ceremony. Let's say, oh, we like actually have one good crop to share. Okay. And so the thing is, when they, when they actually give sacrifice.
Mm.
Okay, so that's how the thing works. Okay, and so what they do is that Alio Papa, they prepare, okay, the offering, the ceremony, they bring them inside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when they say, oh, all right. So if you break down the words, so roughly in English, it means the grasping for mana, the grasping for mana. Okay. So now they're actually, they get the, everybody all in place because the tower get 3 levels. Right? And then they get everybody all in place. The kahunas the holly for the pahu, and then the other 3 hollies is they get distinct people who gotta be in there.
Mm-hmm.
When they start the ceremony, they're doing the ceremony. The pahu drum. Okay, so the pure energy above, when they hear that, because it's the sounds of old. So you could use pahu drum, you could use like the nose flute, or the olelo, right? So you do all these, and then when they hear that and they coming over the hill, you get sucked in the power. You get
Mm.
sucked in. That kaula now is on fuse. So the mana is running into the fuse. Whoever holding that fuse achieve mana. So it goes through under the lily and is spiritually consuming the sacrifice. And it goes through the pahu hale, they get mana. And then the 3 halis, whoever they put inside there, whatever object they put inside there, they achieve mana. So that's
Wow.
kind of like the whole gist of the practice is achieving mana. Yeah. So in our during that era, during that time, there was a seat of government. Every um, play of the Ali'is was in the Lower King.
Mm.
It's all out. When you got Lower King, that's when they did all the decision making was at the Lower King. That's why if
Mm.
you, uh, so like in the Keoho Kaho'olu'u area, at one time, had 56 hells because this was kind of like their first major seat of government. That's why you had all that. And so I'm going to jump all over the place. Okay, so when I talking to you guys about internal components, okay, now we're going to talk about external components. On the old the original Lokinija, so it's like you get wooden images, right? So that's keys.
The key.
Get them all, and they put them. It's all important places. They don't just put them wherever they like. Okay, so and it varies. Keiku is supposed to get 21. Okay, so these keys that actually are in place, on the walls, you get inside, is facing important points throughout the island. So that important points could be actually places or other chaos. So when you're using this Luakini, what they're trying or what they're doing is bringing all the mana from other hells and important places coming in. So when you look at one key, okay, the key actually, the physical is to kind of like ward off people, but the spiritual one is connected with the elements. So with the key, it creates aka shadow. That's why if you look at the key, all different types. Because when it's being created, the aka, like overshoot the place full. You're not gonna make them 2 shot because you're going 1 shot. So people never knew about all that kind of stuff. People just go like, bang, bang, bang. So I always ask them, and they say, "Oh no, they just do them." But what they say is exactly true. You know why? The Kahuna Pu'one, he's the architect. He puts all the different components together to be one machine. It's like one car. You get an architect, okay? Oh yeah, we go build the whole car, okay? So the tire guy, he knows how to build tires, but he don't know what kind of tires to put them on, right? He don't know what kind of size tire, what kind of thread. Even with the engine, people who build engine, but they don't know what kind of engine or transmission or all that stuff. But Kuikuifuoni is very important because he put all these various components together.
Mm.
So by the time he drained everything up on the ground, he's already placed, the placement of the keys. He know exactly where the thing position. He gonna know what height every key is.
Mhm.
Even with the, okay, so the tower. Because the towers, if you look sometimes, or the bugger, the four posts, different, because it creates aka, and that creates the shadow. And the thing running someplace, right? So that's
Wow.
the
Right.
whole gist about that stuff. That's why,
Mhm.
I like go kind of far back. Okay, so the time, so Kamehameha died, and then so now, Keokalani, he had actually, he had Kuka Ilimu. He had his own Joaquin. Okay, so
Right.
and then you had this incursion, or because Kahumanu and Liho it's like, okay, you know what? You gotta achieve power, and if he's in place, and if you look at the track record of their history, anybody who had Kuka Ilimoku was actually going to be the real ruler.
You're right.
Only who never had that. It's kind of didn't conspire. So then, so when they went kind of like talk to Kilcola, he said, "Oh no way, we would stay with the original religion." But afterwards, it's like the first battle when they went to Omo'o, yeah, so they went back to Kailua. So the second time they went around, they actually when actually attack from the top and also the bottom, right? And
Mm.
then eventually Liho and Humano they won, but never stopped there. The fight went all the way to Hamakua, so they're still fighting there until that one when kind of like they won, and then the ultimate, actually last battle was on Kauai. So what they wanted to do not only take out the Icon system, but the Hell practice.
Mhm.
You see the whole bigger picture, right? You take these
Mhm.
two practice because it's connected. So you take these two out. So from that time on, we never have religion for 1 year. Till
Wow.
the Christians came in, but the Christians were smart, checking out the whole place. Like, oh, okay, so we take the leads, right, and we make them ministers. The people will follow, and sure enough, they did, right? They did follow. They learned how to read, write, and all that stuff up. And they're so proficient is because had one gap of 1 year, never have.
Mm.
Okay. So the
Wow.
thing was, our practice went underground for
Mhm.
200 years.
Right. It never disappear.
No, so the thing was, 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, it was 200 years. And then everything went pop out.
Mhm.
And the first hell that they went kind of like went crazy and knocked them all down. And the first Lokini that I went restore because that's my genealogy.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's like saying that, you know what, we back. We maybe took 200 year vacation. We're
Mhm.
not, we're not going to throw the Kanaka in the Imo no more. But what's really
Mhm.
important is about learning the concept of hell and the components and how everything all work together. Because the whole concept of when you do hell practices, you got to get three components and always got to be there: the physical, the spiritual,
Mhm.
and and then so people ask me, because I carry my marks, right? So all of this stuff is every hell I worked on, all this, yeah, all this, and then so they ask like, oh, I see the evil bird. So the evil bird in our practice, right? It is a connection between the hell, which is on the when we're on the ground,
Mhm.
and the gods. So the Eva is the one, is the highest flying bird. And if you look,
Mm-hmm.
any other bird flying there around, they hear about. So that's the, that's the actually the physical, right? And then with
Mm-hmm.
the original priesthood on the hills, priesthood, yeah, yeah. So the top three is the most kind of like up there kind, right? And then the rest of the other priesthood is actually deals with the hell, and then the other priesthood they only stay outside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there
Mm-hmm.
was all that kind of stuff that I was taught, and so the thing is, when you in the old days, whatever the Ohana, the practice was, when you select that child, is when the child actually is growing in. So you're already conditioning the child. And then when the child come out of, the mama, get ceremony, and it's the beginning of his path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but for me, it's like I was so fortunate enough to have archaeological experience, because with that I use I teach, from like grade school, like middle school, high school, university, and kupuna. That's my passion, is to actually teach and actually weave in our traditional practice with Western practice. So how I do that is that, for me, my expertise is actually plain table mapping. So we draw pohaku to scale, no? And that's what I teach them. And this map is so precise. You can take this map, you can walk on, let's say you walk on the holo slide. You can say, oh, this Oahu is one right there. That's not precise.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I really enjoy it, because, sometimes, the students didn't realize they're learning math, they're reading, reading, writing,
Mm-hmm.
and also art.
Science, geometry, everything.
Yeah, all that stuff. And then, but I like the look in their eyes, like, because not all the students go, oh, get them at once, right? Is that
Right.
their eyes, it's like, I got him. And then they just take off. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had, as a previous, like, students with me, 8th grade, 9th grade. But for me, my biggest achievement is when they sending me emails saying, you know what, Uncle, I get my PhD. Or, you know what, I get my MA, and I'm working on getting my PhD. To me, so that's the greatest success, is because of actually planting the seed of education and just let them run. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because my actually analogy for the whole thing is that, okay, it's like you look at one pond of water, right? Some people just gonna walk by, they're gonna acknowledge the pond, they're not going in the pond.
Mm-hmm.
Others actually they go sit down on the edge of the pond. They go put their feet, they go play. Okay. Others actually going to jump in the water, but they're only going to stay on the surface. And then the last group, not only going to stay in the water, but they're going deep, deep, deep. So this part of this water is not actually water, right? It is your genealogy. It is your history. It is your mo'olelo. And it's you. So it's your journey in life, what you're going for.
Mm-hmm.
But just acknowledge the water, or you can sit on the edge of the water, or you're just going to swim on the surface of the water, or you can dive deep. So the guys who dive deep, they go deep, and that's how they get all this knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because actually, see, so like my tutor lady, so she would be my great tutor lady. Her name was Kawai Okalebu. So people say, oh, the water of the Nekua. And then my tutor friend, oh, that's a source of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
From the knowledge, yeah. So it's what we all try to do, achieve, right? As Kanaka, is like passing on knowledge. That's the thing, is keeping the stories alive, the events alive.
Mm-hmm.
When we do that, we keep our kupuna alive. That's why,
Mm-hmm.
down, throughout, I think I've been involved with Ho'olauna KS for like 12 years. And I enjoy that because when they bring in students, sometimes they're not from the other
Right.
continents,
Mm-hmm.
and then they
Mm-hmm.
can understand that our way of life is totally different from the same Molokai. But at the same time, they're actually with me. We go like Kumukahi, Kukula, we go Kuki'i, Kahuai. But that place, that area is distinct of practices. You go down Opikau, even though it's Puna, different like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oiki, different. You go Kalapana, different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gonna jump back. So when I was being raised, my grandfather, he always told me, never mind, you leave Puna. Never mind, you get Ohana. Over here, Kalapana. You know what? You don't go over there and you take your dead natural resources. You know what? Because you know good. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Mama,
Mm-hmm.
it's not your Kuleana. Your Kuleana is here in Kapoho. And if no more resources, that's your fault because you never Mama.
Mm-hmm.
That was always in my mind. So even whatever I do, I don't go over there. Like I don't go like be like, oh wow, look at this. And I go help myself. It's like, no, I'm not gonna take that. And that concept also stay with me is that even when I do, let's say a young client, he said, oh, you know what? Would you like you restore or do investigation on one area in Kona? Even though they give me one contract, it's like, no, I like Mita Ohana, I like Mita Kubuna. Let them know who I am. And half the time, I talk to them, first thing we talk, like sort of Kupuna, who your father? And I tell them, yeah, what the genealogy? And then,
Number one.
oh no, that's Ohana. We're Ohana. You know what? Go ahead. But what I don't do, you just go there and just do what I like. You say,
Mm-hmm.
that's not. I don't live here. I know Malama this place as this guy's natural resources. It's not
Mm-hmm.
mine. I'm not gonna touch. But
Mm-hmm.
as I grew up, I mean, everybody different. But as how we grew up, because this was the 60s. And you know what was so amazing is that, down Kauai, okay, so when we
Yeah.
down, we sit in the back of that truck, we sit under that canvas, get linseed oil there, you can smell them. And then from Kauai, you drive through Pahoa, KL, and you go here. Lucky thing you pass one car. Today, you try to do that, you pass 100 cars.
We stop traffic 20 minutes.
Right. But life was simple, so simple. And it's just growing up around Kupuna. So, for me, I think it was like 7, 8 years old. I go with my uncle. I don't even know Uncle John. Not John Kalawe brother, but his father. He
Mm-hmm.
and then so we start from the lighthouse. We walk. Then we go, you know, we respect to the, to what you call our various graveyards, we could put stuff, and then we walk along the coast, and then I was thinking, oh, uncle, first catch, fill up the bag because I don't like walk all the way down Wiki boat ramp far. You know what I mean? Only 7, 8 years old, but that's the experience. To me, it's like it's the journey that you know what I mean. It's the trip.
Yeah.
Never ever will forget
Yeah.
all that stuff. And then so now, I'm gonna be like 60, 61 years old, but all that storage and all that more level, that's why I share with the family or whoever that can learn that because some people only see Kumukai on a vast land. But no, there's so much more level
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gonna have a different perspective. And you know what? You can get respect of the area.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so and there's just so much great opportunities when you meet people and then they're on the same level and then you can talk and then you kuka and then just how that
Wow.
and then even like politics so politics always is ingrained right
Right.
even in the past right so even with the Mauna going up the mountain. And then it's to me, it's like it was a big family reunion. You see Ohana you never see in a long time, and then and then you create bond of people you never know, and then oh yeah, we Ohana. So even that was a positive situation, and also for defend the mall itself because of
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So even if you look at the Mauna, it's the largest ahu, not only for the Hawaiian Island, but for the South Pacific.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
important that we
Mhm.
along,
Mhm.
yeah. So
Makes
yeah,
sense.
I mean, my journey is I'm very happy what I do. So I always say, what, in life, I'm gonna do what I like and what I enjoy. So we're working with students and just teaching them being balanced because you gotta the foundation always gotta be the culture, the practices, right? And
Mhm.
also you gotta know your genealogy.
Mhm.
And from there, then you can bring in Western technology, but don't forget where you come from.
Mhm.
So always get, what I mean. So we always get that underlining, let's go in the back of your mind about the practice. You know what is
Mhm.
right, and you know what is wrong. So I don't care how much money they're gonna give you. Take the money because you know what, the money is not gonna actually, what you call save you.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Wow.
So,
So
um,
from
Keone,
there,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you a question because how do you or what you told us in your journey,
Yes.
how do you deal with the ala hele, the
That's
trail that was for the recovery, I guess it's the recovery or whatever, the not recovery but the ala hele, that they're trying to make all the ala hele connect to each other in the whole island and
right. But
talking to private guys and all that. And
right.
so
But see,
does it come into where you're talking about
oh
in
no, 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 no. But
Mhm.
see, the concern I have, okay,
Mhm.
we go back
Mhm.
to Ahupua'a system, right?
Right.
It is the people who live there, they control there. So,
Mhm.
I know I had talked with other people and said, oh yeah, and then, we can use the Makai Trail. I said, no, the Ahupua'a system, that trail is only the people who live there.
Mhm.
So even if they make the trail go around the island, you got to stay on that trail. Once you go into the Ahupua'a, that's totally different. So
Mm.
that's my concept. Is like, you know what?
Mhm.
You gotta actually manage the natural resources, right?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
cannot just let anybody come inside in your area and start taking stuff.
Mhm.
The what we gotta do is kind of like share the practices of old so people get respect, right?
Mhm.
Because going back to my grandfather, it's like you're not gonna catch me ka'u for fishing.
Mhm.
First of all, that's not my district. And you know what? It's not my kuleana.
Mhm.
So it's their stuff. But so okay, so let's say in Puna, everybody Ohana, but we know every family know where all the specific Ohana live in a specific Ahupua'a.
Mhm.
So we're not going over there in any other place and start taking stuff, right? So we respect each
Mhm.
other. But if get one concern in Puna, we all unite as one. We all
Right.
respect each other. But at the same
Mhm.
time, we respect each other and we're not going to actually go take somebody else's natural resources. Because, oh, I
Mhm.
don't have resource here, but
Mhm.
don't call upon. I'll get these. I'll like go, go get mama and son. It's like, no, it's their stuff. Because if you like,
Mhm.
you go Malama, you go plant your own.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
if we're talking about being Kanaka, we gotta understand the Kuleana. They'll say, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? I I kind what you call now? I'm I Kanaka, but you don't understand the concept. Because you know how much times people come in, they come Kahuwa. Oh, I get gathering rights. What? You get gathering rights? Yeah, I get gathering right. I thought, okay, tell me the HRS number and tell me the whole intent of the gathering
The
rights.
gathering.
Yeah. And I tell him, you know what? I mean, get arrested for gathering rights. I actually was in the meeting who actually, kind of talk with all the attorney because this was actually, the original geothermal. That's what centered the whole thing. And then so what happened was we had the Native Hawaiian Legal Corporation. So they was kind of like on our side. Other side had like 6 attorneys. And then was, the old crest up front, right next. Remember I had the trophy shop there?
Right.
Them up. So and you know who only show up? Me and P. Money. So we see inside there, talk. So they said, okay, you know what? We're gonna give you guys gathering rights. But you know what? Only your family and your family. I said, no, I'm not inside here. Because you know what? I'm not special. We're here for all our people. All our people. We represent all our people, even though they never show up. But maybe they gotta work. But we're here for everybody.
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 Oh, my ka'i.
I got arrested for that. And then so after at the same time, I was kind of like, okay, makikita. And then so what happened was we said, okay, we're going down KL, right? And then shipping place, we're going down to the Kai. And then so when we gather, so I was carrying and we're going on the other side, the police and the family. And then got there and I look around, oh my, we're 200 people. And then so, I carried and I said, you know what? I going over the fence. I cannot stop. So I go over the fence and then hold, and then they pass over, and they're right there. The policeman kind of the traffic comes up to, whoa! You don't like to touch him. You don't like touch him. Because you know what? We stay in ceremony. You don't like touch him, so they back off. Then afterwards, it was Kaliko. He came over. And then he went hold him. So they went okay, they put me in cuffs and everything. And go to the police station, all that kind of stuff. But we know what was really amazing. In time for my case, the officer was there. So I was talking to him now outside before we go inside. So I go inside there. I sit down, and then the case going on. And if they call up the officer, and then the prosecutor tell, okay, point out Mr. Kalawe. He looked directly at me, like he don't see me. He told, you're not in the room. You kind of like, what? So they tell him, oh, go outside, maybe sit on a bench. You go outside on a bench, you come back. Nobody. And a prosecutor, no, me.
Yeah.
Right? So he asked the police officer again, where's Mr. Kalawe in the, is he in his courtroom? He looking at me, and he just looked away. He's not here. I mean, honest guy now.
Wow.
And then so the judge said, this is the last time you ask him, Mr. Kalawe is in here. If not, we're going to dismiss the case. He asked him again. You're not there. Hit the ground. I said, okay, I see you guys later. I walk out. But see, the spiritual aspect is that spiritually, because he was Kanaka. So spiritually, when he, it's like, and I was talking to him before we come in the court. It's just that he never seen me spiritually. That's why I got off. But everybody knows during actually he got trespassing charge. but see, as the thing is actually we stay connected spiritually to our kupuna and our kupuna. So as we do this kind of stuff, it's like they protect us, whatever.
Yeah.
But we're on this path and gotta be pono. Because I don't care how far up the path you go. Once you actually let's say you do something negative energy, you go off. You know what? You're not gonna come back on the path. Yeah, you start all over. And I'm not gonna ever do that. Because she see, So you got to be on the path. You got to be on the path. So what I tell people is that, you know what? You never ever create negative energy. You know why? Some uhani, that's what they feed off. So you
Mhm.
that. So always positive energy in life.
Mhm.
That's why, people go, you always happy. I said, you know what? I don't want any option. I gotta be positive, positive. That's the thing. So whatever I do is positive. And always stay in that mood. I don't care if anybody attack me. Always positive. I'm not gonna lash out at
Mhm.
people, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Because you have to understand who you are in your practice. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So you're not gonna bring yourself to that level because you stay up this level and you know better.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all the kind of all this kind of situation that occurred, but it's just to me, it's like you stay on the path of your puna, what they taught you, and then you share. So it's like electricity. You can't do it, right?
Yeah.
And you go out. Check hold on, what happened? Well, we're gonna blow up with all this stuff in your head. In no sense, you get educated because it's not for you. It is a continued path for the future generation. That's why you've been taught, right? All this
Mhm.
on our own, all this stuff is because
Mhm.
so like I said, in my case, we have 4 generations. My father, me, my daughter, my grandson. So these two, they like continue the path. So it's so great. We get four generations. So I always tell my daughter, Les, hey, you know what? Because when I was, kind of like got into all this stuff, I was 30 years old. I said, hey, you know what? You're gonna be 11 years too late, so you gotta catch up. But Nainoa is 21, so it's good. So even like Nainoa, I said, you know what? You stay the path. When you come
Mhm.
around 30, already go look for the next generation. So the
Mhm.
gap already,
Right.
Yeah, and you just continue on.
Mhm.
It's the whole thing. Yeah, so for me, this the whole thing is about just kind of like practicing hell. This
Mhm.
that's my passion. Is practicing hell. I also I also build holua sleds and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And then so I'm actually working on this project, and it's so fascinating because on this island alone, okay, at one time 96 slides, but because of
Wow.
and all that kind of stuff, taking out the plantation, took out a whole bunch and all that stuff. And so if you go down Keho, get actually when Kamehameha the third was born, um, the father said, "Okay, you know what? You're going to rededicate this slide because had an original slide, but was named Pine. So what they did is they made them longer, so almost 1 mile long. Okay,
Wow.
so that's the dedication of the sun, right? So I actually I worked on that project. It took me about 3 years for draw for Haku from the top all the way down. And so I did the whole thing like that. And then I think like 3 years ago, out of accident, so I run summer field schools for high school
Mhm.
students in Cornwall. But it's going to be like I don't know how much you have to forget already. But we're looking at this one particular area of Mauka, and they said, "Oh, you get plenty of planting pits." So they actually plant in. They almost look like small, shallow wells, nice, and they plant all the the mere iron, all that kind of stuff. And I kind of like thinking like, you don't get all this stuff. Gotta get something. So the person was with me. So, oh, you know what? We can walk more fast. We hit the jeep trail. We go up. As soon as I put my foot on the jeep trail, this is not one jeep trail. I mean, huh? This is not one jeep trail. That's on Hulu slide. He said, huh? We're gonna hire throughout, three archaeologists. And then they said jeep trail. I thought, ask for a refund because it's not jeep trail. So the past 3 years, I was with the students, and now we're actually drawing out this slide.
Wow.
And whoever slide this was, is narrow. So this person, and his skill, and this is the first time I ever see one Kahua Holua get native hardwoods planted on both sides, and on the outside still get tea leaf. But you know this tea leaf old way in the air. Okay. So I pass on my compass. And I sit on the slide and they pointing them and I look, oh yeah, I mark them to the map. Where this slide going to? Who in the hell?
Wow.
Estimate
Buena.
4.5 miles. But you know what? Don't even ask the question, where is Kamehameha the Great slide? And I believe this is the slide because it doesn't matter where it stopped,
Right.
where the thing ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, you know,
Chicken skin.
yeah, because if you
Ooh.
see the sun's one, everybody say, oh, that's how long it's one mile, 1 mile. This guy is 4.5 miles long. Yeah. But and it, that's it.
0.5 miles.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I just shocked. I thought I was muted.
What's really remarkable is that so I get students from like Ihonui, Konoaina,
Mm-hmm.
other schools. So when they come, they don't actually, they look at also a pile of rocks until I talk to them and all that stuff. And so every day we get time. I say, okay, you know what? Quiet time, and it's right. And then throughout the 6 weeks, they get them at different times. So the first time I tell them, listen to the horse. They look at me like, what? But what the horse say? I thought, they planning. Because when you open your arm too long, sit down, and you tell me the horse tell me. So then afterwards they tell me, oh, the wind. They hear the wind, or they hear like the rain, they hear the birds. So now you listening to the forest. So when they are in that zone, and now when in that zone, now they can actually focus on what they're doing.
That's
So like,
right.
when you guys working on that map, I don't like hear you guys talking about, oh, what do we have for lunch? We going for dinner. But mine is here, because when your mind 100% here, that's how you're gonna learn. And you know what? Remember now, when you come into my classroom, outdoor classroom, all your cell phones is in the box. The only time you get your cell phone, lunch break. And then after lunch, you put them there. And then when you guys go home, you guys go. But after that, because you got to write research papers, eh? And then
Right.
when I read this whole thing, it's like, wow, you know what I mean? So, and then they also, actually, I also give them actually one quiz. It's like 26 questions, and also get extra. And then when I first give them, they coming out from the hole. Sometimes they only get one correct, two correct, and then the last day I give them the same thing, and you see them, they get them, they get them like 100%.
Wow.
But that's what I teaching them. It's like, you guys got to retain what you guys,
Yeah.
But they have more respect for the culture. They have more respect for point values.
Yeah.
Even when when it comes lunchtime, when food comes, they start running and everything. I thought, I don't care how fast you guys running, grab you guys food. Who gonna pull it? They stop. I tell, no, they tell me, we don't do that. I said, I'm sorry, but over here we do this. So you guys only, before we work and after we work, there's only again. And that's respect for our kupuna in the area. And then you guys also understand the concept of Aloha Aina and Malama. And we, so
Ooh.
no, I mean, I say I really enjoy it, as my passion is to actually plant the seeds in the minds of my students and just let them flourish. And then, several years you run into them like, oh, now they're married, they get kids, but they never forget the experience. And they really value identity of being Kanaka. But even as students that's not a Kanaka, I said, no, learn your genealogy, learn your values, and then if you really don't know, um, you know, your family, well, just adopt the Kanaka values.
Mhm.
Simple,
Mhm.
because like they say in the old saying, right? When in a room, do the room, right? You're not going to do something else.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. It's the same principle. Yeah. So, I really enjoy what I do, and, just actually educating people, or um, reconnecting them to the culture, reconnecting,
Mhm.
to their kahuna. That's the thing is that, hey,
Mhm.
you know what? You see that person right there? It's your uncle. Hey, I said, no, that's your uncle. And then I started telling the genealogy. He's like, oh, I never know my uncle. I thought, yeah, go talk to him. I said, no, you got a connection. And then you can ask him during his time what would happen. And then, oh, your
Mhm.
grandfather, your auntie. So that's the reconnection. And then when you
Mhm.
have all this more level, then you go and center of that, who you are.
Mhm.
That's the thing is, like, and that's the whole thing is reconnecting people with other people, and also through Mo'olelo, and also
Mhm.
practice it. Because like
Mhm.
in our lower Puna, Kwae, okay, so get like two ilis. One is Kanikiki, one is Kwae. And then the other one inside there is Ka'ua, or Lua. It's the two ilis. So as one certain practice that you can find only in that particular area, no place else in Puna. You're not going to find them throughout the Hawaiian Islands, only this place. And I
Wow.
continue to do that practice, you know. And then we got to carry on that practice.
Mhm.
Because, if you talk to other people, they don't know. And it's
Mhm.
through kupuna teaching, right? And their writings. That's the thing is. So it is remarkable that, sometimes people think, oh, he's making them up. It's like, oh, no, we're in this book. Actually, it was written in the 1800s, and this is our practice. The specific practices. Even like when they
Mhm.
go holo holo, there's specific practices.
Mhm. Mhm.
Go throughout the different, even in Puna,
Mhm.
different practices. So, and people got to respect that. You cannot say like one size fit all. You say, oh,
Mhm.
what Puna do is called, ooh, it's like, no. But we
Mhm. Yeah.
other. We should respect each other practices. Oh, right.
Mhm.
But you're not going to and go, oh, how you guys do this?
Right.
You don't like actually, what is the word? Kind of like modify the original practice, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I don't like be hard on people, but even with the other practice, you got a tendency because people don't know the true Hawaiian practice. They actually bring from the South Pacific, and they mix them all up, and they say that's
Mm.
not, and that's not because I know. Okay, so basically, okay, so we talk together. So you know that kanoa get two types there. One is actually above, right? So you get like figurines holding them up.
Right.
Other kanoa is on the ground. So the one on the ground is only for Kanaka. The one actually raised, you only actually serve two, either Ali or Akua. Never ever Kanaka. And so when I see this kind of stuff, and
Oh.
I ask the people, they tell me, look nice, but I say that's not the function.
Mhm.
The practice of the past can continue in the present and in the future.
Mhm.
So I simply say, you guys got to do real, real good research of whatever your oihana you can choose.
Mhm.
We'll just pick and choose, and you can fill in the blank with something else. So it's like that's not our practice. Yeah, the Fijian type, the kano, is raised, but there's different concept, different practices.
Mhm. Mhm.
Even when you carry the
The apple.
the yeah, okay,
The apple.
the
Yeah.
apple. Yeah, I was going to talk about how about that kind of store
Oh,
water.
sorry.
But the apple when you make them, okay, only one type of coconut, hiva, hiva, okay. And then when you make them, it's long way. I see some guys they cut them in half. It's
Mhm.
not kanaka. And then when you make them, it's only 1/3 of the whole coconut. It's not the
Mhm.
quantity. Okay. So let's say, okay, so when the server comes,
Mhm.
serve the person, right? And then so the Hawaiian style, when you serve from the status. So the least status, well, you serve them. And the last person to serve is the eldest or the highest ranking.
Mm.
And the reason why you do that is that, you know, when you get the ava inside the canoe, each time you take in the top, it's stronger, stronger, stronger. But so sometimes I see when I go ava ceremony, they mix. So that's not. You see, I mix everything. That's not how. So you scoop, right? You always scoop from the top because you can settle everything. Then they serve. But when they come back with the what you call the apple, you turn them over. You don't leave them like this.
Mm.
And then they bring them back, right? And then they put them down, and then they put the apple again.
Mm.
And the simple reason why, if they understand the whole concept of the relationship with Ava and the gods, is that,
Mm.
you know, when you get the apple like this, when you're going spiritually, the akua is taking
Right.
Ava. And then when the Kanaka drinking, that's the
Mm.
physical, right?
Mhm.
So, you know, so when the apple empty, you walk in, the apple will piss off. You get it open, but no more nothing. So you always like this. Okay.
Oh.
So that one, okay, so when you do practices, you start from the lowest rank to the highest. And then
Mm.
sometimes you get equal kind people. What you do, how much you get. And then what you do, you make ball, with the oval. And then you make ball. So let's say they make the small ball. You come, okay, I get 27. And you times them by 23. I mean 27 by 3. So
Mm.
and after you put in the let's say, okay, you're gonna use regular water, or you're gonna use coconut water. But if you use
Mm.
coconut water, it'll be Hiva. So that's a relationship, because when you do a
Right.
kind
The
ceremony,
best.
you're gonna use Hiva, right? The
Mm-hmm.
Ava, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna use the Hiva,
New.
and
Yeah.
the of Hiva.
Right.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
because it's up in the air. Even when what you gonna, so let's say when you go make like ceremonies, like, for Akua, or you know, so the thing is, even when you prepare, you go make one filter, right? And
Right.
as the puhala, the aerial roots. You don't want to touch
Mm.
the ground because the thing is in the air. So when you cut them, and then you pound, the thing all will fall. And then you wash them, you tie the tune up. That's how you. But see the concept, everything is in the air, because
Mm-hmm.
for the gods, anything touch the ground. You. Okay,
Mm.
so let's say no. So you okay. So you go mix ava. Okay, so the highest form of actually getting water is from the lao, the kalo. So all that do, you collect all that. That's the water you're going to use. Why? Because it's in the air. You never take it from the river, right? But
Mm.
when you gather all that the water gotta be before the sunrise.
Mm.
So you cannot, if you cannot get that, then you get the water from the Hiva coconut, because
Mm.
it's in the air. So as a concept, when you
Mm.
serve the akua, when you serve ali,
Yeah.
it touch the ground. So even if you look at the canoa, it's raised, it's stay on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
many people, it's like they really don't understand the practice of alpha. So even like
Mm-hmm.
when you okay, so when you putting in the water in a container, you
Mm-hmm.
never use oil.
Oh.
It's all the kind like ipus, all that
Oh.
as kanaka. So
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. So even all the different implements and everything, yeah. But then
Mm-hmm.
again, when people don't know about the practice, that's why they improvise, right? So they look at that down the supposed to, they use that, we go use that. But if you know the practice in and out, when you see them, you know a mile away. It's like, oh, not that. So one time they invited me to go have a ceremony. So I go, well, I know, that's not good. Good. So what happened was, when come my time, I simply turn them upside down and I just smash the outfit. That means you stop everything because not porno. So if you get recall up the mountain, We get the Fijians, right? So I met with the Fijians, and they understand. I understood their practice. They understood our practice as Kanaka. And then so when I seen something wasn't Pono, I seen it in their eyes. They look at me, I look at them. So when he was coming for serve, and then other people wasn't so grab them, it's like they're just coming to me. So when I went get the upper with the upper, I went turn them upside down, and they just went step on them. And what happened? The Fijians would stand up, grab everything, and then head out. And other people like, oh, how come we never get served? There is a process of our ceremony. We're going to actually follow from the past, continue in the present, in the future. What happened up there at the Mauna, it was important. And that's the reason why they came directly to me, because they understood who I was, who I am in Awa. So, it's like hopefully nobody will get upset, is because if they really knew about our ceremony, and if something was actually not Pono, that's what's going to happen. They're going to actually come to the Po'o, and they came to me. So that's the thing is that sometimes we got to correct the practice. We can't just look the blind eye and let the guys go. It's going to be your fault. Because if you was trained, all that sacrificing and everything, if you see somebody doing it wrong, you're not going to let them go, because you could do them a disservice to your practice. That's the thing.
Right.
Even though somebody get mad, because they don't fully understand the practice. That's a big kuleana. So when you take that oihana, that practice, you know what I mean? So once you grab them, that's yours. And you got to defend that practice. I don't care what happened. You got to defend that practice.
Like the integrity, the integrity of the function.
Right.
Because given function, and like you're saying, the architect, it's right, it's not for nothing. Given purpose behind all those,
right.
All the things. It's not just one show.
No, it's not one show.
It was one function.
Yes, always get one function. So only hell people, we can transfer mana from an ahu to an hell, or one hell back to the ahu. Why? Because the ahu can function. If you don't put that in, that's a beautiful ahu. But no more the heart, no more the kidneys.
Yeah.
It is. You know what I mean? So now that's why I'm trying to actually share this information. So when you do something, like them 100%, if not, go home. And you know what? At the same time, we'll go deceive our people. But if you don't know, tell them you don't know. We'll make them. One of my earliest, exposure with my kumu, he told me this. Keone, the hell? It's like a chocolate cake. And to achieve the chocolate cake, you gotta get throughout time, people was actually trying to make the chocolate cake. But most of the time, several key ingredients. Throughout time, they're feeding all these people a piece of chocolate cake. One day, one guy go make one perfect chocolate cake. He gonna feed the same guys. You know what they're gonna tell him? They'll tell the person, that's not perfect chocolate cake until this person revealed all the ingredients. And I wasn't always in the back of my mind. But when he talks all night, all night, and you kind of like,
yeah.
You gotta figure him out. You know what I mean? It's like, you ask like, what you say? You know what I mean? Yeah. But truly, that's the thing. So as you learn more and more and more stuff, you go so deep, then you understand the count. All of that stuff. Yeah. So it's for me. It's like it's amazing. Just kind of like talking to people, and they say, "Oh, I never know about that. Oh, I never know about the key. That the shadow is important."
Yeah.
I said, yeah. Because you get the physical, right? And then you get the spiritual and the elements, right? The element, the shadow.
Right.
It's always intertwined. You cannot leave one component out,
Mhm.
right? Same thing with the chocolate cake. You leave one component out, So if you feed people something, they think it's perfect. But when you put everything together, hey, the bubble tastes different. But that's how it's supposed to be all along. Yeah.
So, Uncle, something we always ask on this show, is now that we know your journey and where your life will come, when you go look now, and part of Kanakanology, Kumu always says, is 2020 and 2021 and beyond.
Yeah.
And so something we always ask is, as you look towards the future, what is it, your legacy? What do you hope for your legacy to be?
My legacy is actually to bring back the health practice I was before, and also the preservation of our homeland. For us, is Kula, is Kumukahi, and the preservation, how important Kumukahi is, because that's the beginning. It's the beginning of life, the beginning of knowledge, all of that. You know me, and people got to understand. Kumukahi is as important as the moment. It is important as Kilauea. And through sharing all of this mo'olelo, then people can have, awareness, and they also understand, oh, this is a sacred place. I'm not going to run my motorcycle over here. TV, or you know what? I'm not going to use the bathroom here. All here. That's the whole thing is a continued of that concept, and also about peace. Like this one person said, in order for people to to know peace, is to teach peace. So that's what we're all about. And just, so we're setting up the future generation to actually continue this practice of education. Yeah. That's all. You know what I mean? So, it's like, yeah. So it's that's so we always looking in the kind, we always looking in the past for get answers. Yeah.
Well, Uncle, we're so lucky to have you with us. And
Yes, thank you so much.
thank you so much for joining us tonight. And we really appreciate you sharing all of this Ike. And I think the hope, when people hear this and see this and understand the perspective and the roots from whence it came, and I think for me the takeaway is the function. Get one purpose.
Whatever you do is function.
Function.
Nice is nothing.
It's actually very practical. It's very practical, so mahalo. There's so much I like thinking and processing. I'm like, not really making sense, I think. But I just mahalo nui, Uncle, for sharing all of this.
To be continued.
To be continued.
Yes.
To me, it's so special because you know what? This is Puna. This is the faces of Puna. So for me, it's really special. Yeah.
Mahalo nui, Anakala. We appreciate you. We love you so much.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Mahalo nui. Ahiho.
We hope.